Hey guys, it's Kai. I have a crazy story time for you today. I think it's crazy. I think you guys will think it's crazy too. I don't really know, but I think it is probably the craziest story. It's the craziest thing that's maybe ever happened to me personally. I've known about this for a while, but I wanted to make sure, everybody involved in the story was comfortable with me sharing it. So I've kind of been putting it off to make sure everything's good and everyone's comfortable, and I'm finally gonna share this story with you today. So I'm excited because I think it's a very wholesome story, and I think that it's just a story worth telling. It's crazy, it's fun, it has a happy ending, it's wholesome. All together, it's just a wonderful, really cool thing that happened to me. So buckle your seatbelts, let me tell you this story. So, as you guys know, a little while ago, I did a 23andMe DNA test. So I took my spit, I spit it in the tube, and then I shipped it off to be tested to see what genetic makeup I have, what ethnicity I am, if I have any genetic diseases that I may get later on in life, or things I'm predisposed to, or things I can pass on to my children, things like that. Sent that off, got the results back. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it on my channel. But the gist of it is that I'm about 35% Hispanic, so half of that's from Mexico and half of that is from like Spain, and then basically the rest of me is European, and I'm more likely than some to get Alzheimer's, so that's cool. So anyways, when you do a 23andMe, there are a lot of different like subsections of things that they can tell you. It can tell you like all your genetic predispositions, it can tell you your ethnicity, it can tell you like your lineage as far as like what haplogroup you are from, how many Neanderthal variants you have in your DNA, stuff like that. So it's really interesting. And it also has this section where it shows you people that you match up that you are related to and how similar your DNA is to theirs. When I first did it, I had a whole list of relatives that were like second and third cousins, just 1% to like 0.2% DNA shared. So nothing super significant, no one had ever even heard of. So that was about a year ago. And I get emails periodically from 23andMe that say like, oh, a new thing has arrived, you have a new relative, or there's new testing information. So I got an email that said, your new genetic type 2 diabetes report is available. And I was like, that's interesting, I'll go check that out. So I went and clicked on the diabetes report. I am not more likely to get diabetes, by the way, so that's cool. So I click on that, and I'm just browsing around 23andMe because there's some new stuff. So I'm looking around, doing my thing, and I get to my relative section, and I have two new relatives, pretty similar DNA to me, like enough to be substantial. So I have someone who is listed as a first cousin, and then I have another person who is also listed as a first cousin. The first one on the list says 13 point something % DNA shared, and the second one says 7 point something DNA shared. So I'm like, that's really interesting. So I ended up clicking on this bio of my first cousin. So I click it, and there's a little bio, says, where she's from and a little bit about her. So it basically just starts off her introducing herself. And then she says she was born in New Mexico, which if you didn't know, that's where I was born as well, and where all my family lives, and that she was adopted at birth. And then it says she doesn't know anything about her birth mother except for her name, which is, insert my grandmother's maiden name. So I read this and I was like, that's a little odd, but I didn't really think anything of it because it's a pretty common name. My grandma's maiden name is a pretty common name. So I was like, whatever, like I thought it was weird, but I didn't really think anything of it. I clicked on the other first cousin thing, and it said that she was my first cousin's daughter. These two people, I know they can't both be my first cousins because one is her daughter. So I kind of forgot about it for a few hours. I kind of just read it and then like just tossed it out of my brain. And then my sister called me, and I was talking to her, and I was like, do you want to know something weird I heard today? And she was like, yeah, sure. So I was like, I saw this thing where this person who's related to me, she says her birth mother is our grandma's maiden name. And she's like, whoa, like that's really weird, hold on. And then she's asking me all these questions like, didn't grandma used to live here? Didn't, all this stuff. And we're basically playing detective to try to figure out if this is a possibility. So the birthplace makes sense. The name makes sense. We weren't so sure about the year because it says that she was born what we thought was the year before my dad, but turns out she was born 2 years before my dad because I had his birthday wrong in my brain. So then that made sense. Then we asked my grandma when she got married to my grandpa, and it was the year after this lady was born. That added up. And then the last piece of the puzzle was why, if she was our aunt, why would she only have 13% of DNA shared? Because aunts typically share about 25%. It's because she has a different dad than our dad had. So we're at this point where we're like, ding, we cracked the case, we did it. This is legit. What the heck? So my sister and I call my mom. We're just calling her because she's not picking up. We finally get her to pick up and we ask her, like, do you know anything about this? Is this a thing? And she goes, I don't want to be involved. Don't involve me. And that pretty much settled it for us. We knew for a fact then that it was legitimate. We're calling my dad. We wanted to ask my mom first because I didn't want to like step on any toes or like give away any information that may have been sensitive or that people didn't know about, because I had never even heard any sort of inkling about this. So we called my dad and he's like, yeah, I mean, I do remember being told that. I kind of always thought I made it up, but yeah, that's, you know, that's my sister, that's your aunt. And we're like, oh my, like mind fucking blown. We have this secret aunt that we did not know anything about. So we're very excited. My sister's super excited and we're just kind of bouncing off our seats because we want to be able to do something with this information, but nobody wanted us to tell my grandma because it is sensitive information and we needed to wait until everybody knew, and my dad wanted to be the one to tell my grandma that we had found her. My dad took forever to tell her. It was driving me crazy because she would call me. Me and my grandma are very close. We talk like every single day. So she'd call me and she'd be like, it was weird. Your sister is asking me some questions. And I'd be like, oh, that is really strange. Yeah, don't know why that could possibly be, because I couldn't say anything. But my dad finally talked to her and told her about it, and she was happy and everyone was happy. Everything was good. It was all kosher. And so we decided to find my grandma's daughter on Facebook. I tried to connect with her through Facebook, but she never read my message. I also tried to connect with her daughter because her daughter was like listed on there, but they never read my messages. So I finally got to write them on 23andMe, and I just said like, hello, I believe that my grandma is your birth mother, and she knows about you. She's interested in getting connected with you. Let me know if this is something you would like to do. And she wrote back and she was super nice, and she was like, oh my gosh, like this is sort of crazy. Like, are you sure that it's like your grandma? And we like verified everything. I gave her my grandma's phone number, and that was really the last I've spoken to her. I've spoken to her a little bit past then. I asked her for permission to do this video, and I also told her Happy Easter. She ended up calling my grandma and they had like a heartfelt little talk. It's like the sweetest story ever, because I guess my grandma's daughter has been looking for my grandma since she was like 16, but she couldn't really find her. Like I said, it's a pretty common last name and it's not my grandma's last name anymore, so it was pretty much impossible to have any leads to this. And my grandma didn't know anything about her. It was like just an adoption, and she didn't really know anything about her or where she was or who she was or anything, so it was impossible for them to find each other. But there was just this fluke that happened where I somehow saw this, because I didn't go looking for it. It was kind of an accidental run-in, but I'm so happy that it happened. So they talked and got to know each other, and my grandma was telling me the story. My grandma said she loved her, and then she said, I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. She said, I wasn't sure if I'd ever hear those words from you, but I love you too. And I was, it's the cutest thing I've ever heard in my whole life. So now we have this whole like other like branch of family that we didn't know about that is part of our family now. She has some kids, so I have some cousins, some more cousins, so that's really cool. Apparently one of them is a lot like me, so they say. I don't really know her that well, but when she introduced herself to me, she asked me what my pronouns were, and I thought that was really cool because no one ever asked me my pronouns. I was like, wait, what? Wait, really? So that was really cool. So they all just seem super nice, and it's like, I don't know, my mind is still blown to think about this. It's just so crazy. It seems like such like a crazy coincidence, or maybe even like a sign that we all found each other, because maybe it just feels like very like it was supposed to happen. I know that sounds cliche or whatever, but it just like feels like everything's right with the world, and my grandma seems really happy about it, and that has been a great joy to me because, like I said, my grandma and I are very close. I love my grandma. Seeing her like get to, connect with her daughter that she hasn't known has been really, really wonderful. And I'm gonna get to meet my cousins this summer, so we're all gonna get to meet this summer. We've already planned a little meetup, and I can't wait. I'm still mind blown about this. I haven't told the story in a while because I told everyone who I told like right away, and I haven't told it since, so I'm kind of sitting here like, oh my god, again. That's my crazy story. I don't know how crazy you thought it was. I have a secret aunt. I have another aunt. I have 3 aunts now. Everybody wins in this situation. There's no losing, and it's Jazz hands. Is that jazz hands? I think so, right? Anyways, that's my crazy story. Shout out to 23andMe for connecting families and for bringing people together, because I think that's really cool. Hashtag not spons, but like if you want to sponsor me, this is a pretty good story. I'm just saying. Anyways, I hope you guys liked my story. I hope you thought it was as crazy as I did, because sometimes I feel like I'm overhyping it, but it just seems crazy to me. It seems crazy that I went 24, almost 25 years of my life not knowing about family. I had a whole other like branch of family, and now I know them. Well, not super well, but I will get to know them. I just feel really happy about it. Hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also like this video if you want more story times. I have some more stories. I don't know, I gotta think about it, but I kind of like doing story times. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye.